It's okay. It's just a nightmare.
There's a rapidly crowning narrative, pinched out principally by the dwindling dipshittery that is conventional gaming journalism, that with the West on the wane and the entire Japanese industry writhing in the East, it's up to those plucky Polacks to salvage even a modicum of playability from the smoldering rubble of an actively imploding industry. But even the internet porn-ravaged faculties of the average goddamn gamer are eminently attuned to the fact that when the gaming media says Polish game industry, they really just mean CD Projekt Red and no one the fuck else. And why not? Having unleashed a king's ransom of kick-ass RPG titles, and The Witcher 3, the reputation is profoundly fucking earned by Michael Moorcock.
So why don't you let AIDS help you lose weight and keep it off?
Sunday night, 2,000 pounds of raging terror. They're kids that kill.
There's no such thing as an ordinary day when you have your period.
I can live with that.
But hearken, friends, across the fetid mire of fecklessness and fail, fresh from the dogshit minds of the DS, having tirelessly composed the jump scare symphony Layers of Fear, a Polish parish whose talent is every bit as vast as their name is goddamn-diculous. Bloober Team, assemble! Proof positive that all you need to fashion a thriving industry of 3 entire developers is piss away cockloads of kielbasa cash at the taxpayer's expense, doubtless with zero unintended adverse consequences in the future. Isn't that right, Kurt Schilling? Enter Observer. When I bore witness to Dutch demigod Rutger Hauer's haggard vocal performance when the earliest trailers revealed the steam-laden future noir the game in question, let's just say I anticipated the faintest of fucking Blade Runner references. And then the game opened the fuck up with a white-on-black Times New Roman text scroll demarcating our dystopian drama with blood-red replicant highlights and flanked by the Vangelis value model's omnipresent Casio queefs, and I wondered aloud, now who says all Poland does is steal?
It's not a rip-off, it's a homage.
But I don't mean to break Observer's balls, because whether Blade Runner's being deified or despoiled, the end result is one of the greatest games of the goddamn year, an atmospheric adventure colossus bursting with body horror and slathered in cyberpunk that, unlike its Layers of Fear forebear, lapses just as often into the more conversational climes of Deus Ex Human Revolution as the jump-scare-laden languidity of the titles it undoubtedly derives from. In lieu of a Gone Homo-style motherfucking moping simulator, Bloober Team are transfixed by forensic futurism, even going so far as to permit the player to jack the fuck into the moldering necrotic gray matter of any and all recently murdered motherfuckers to relive the final hours of their increasingly miserable lives. But as the sordid contents of their homicidal head holes spill into the observer's cybernetic subconscious, it's the main character's slow transformation from Roy Batty to Roy Batshit that produces the most utterances of the phrase, what in the actual fuck did I just witness? And while some might describe the aforementioned mindjackery as a fatal flaw due to their troubling tendency to err on the linear as living fuck persuasion, as the game unfurls, so too do said strictures, allowing the odd stealth section or playdate with a puzzle to handily ameliorate an otherwise wearisome exercise. In summation, it's the Cell with 100 times the horror and half the J-Lo ass cheek implants. But as I said, the game, much like J-Lo in the company of a man she senses can further her career, cracks wide the fuck open in the later stages, incentivizing the player sallying forth into side questery while stopping short of outright aimless exploration, which in an age of AAA titwangs featuring big-ass open worlds with nary a fucking thing to do in them, I'd adamantly argue is the preferable approach. Instead of wearing the world-rending fuck out of its welcome by having you capture flags or shutter fucking oblivion portals, you inhabit each ominous environ just long enough to remain utterly immersed for the duration. Many of the more impactful passages by fucking far are found not while fumbling through a fuckbag's forebrain in some spooky-ass set piece, but in the downtime before and fucking after, combing the crime scene for clues you may have missed, poring over personal emails, enumerating the digital dystopia splayed the fuck before you, even immobile and enraptured by the neon nightmare that is post-apocalyptic Poland, is never once overwrought or unengaging. Now, while the game never cracks wider than Ralphie May's maw at a motherfucking sweet factory, it does present a fair few forks in the road. Their earth-rending impact enhanced all the more, shockingly enough, by what it lacks: a save function. Now, I've flown into a spittle-flecked fucknado of untrammeled called Rageaholic at the merest mention of many other games not allowing the player to save when they please, and with good reason. In lesser offerings, this would lead to more backtracks than Milli Vanilli the Musical. In Bloober Team's capable hands, it sends my fellow save scum off to the shitty gaming gulag, guaranteeing that before you mindjack into some murderous motherfucker or pull the plug on that genetically enhanced organ farm, you'd better be profoundly fucking sure it's a verdict you can live with. But I would be remiss not to mention the mastery of Rutger Hauer. Even with everyone's favorite resident replicant in his 7th goddamn decade, the dulcet intonations of this Dutch demigod could render even Sarkeesian's sub-Saharan slatch into a goddamn Galapagos.
You were good.
Good at talking out of my ass.
Bemused and beshitted, he effortlessly ascends to the status of cyberpunk protagonist while weaving in enough dehumanized subtext to provoke the player into obsessively speculating as to his own dark nature, right to the horrifying finish. I don't know how prominently video game voice work figures into this fucker's future, but in a sea of Steve Blooms and 11-teen titloads of Troy Bakers, if my opinion's worth a saucy wet wank, I'd chain Rutger Hauer to a microphone fucking yesterday. But could the game be improved, you inaudibly inquire? Does Sterling sit down to take a piss? I could do with a more detailed compendium of all the information and investigation I've accrued, maybe even a motherfucking map of some kind, but nothing would revamp the replicantastic convivialities quite like an overhaul of the cyber stealth mechanics. In short, my fiefdom for a fucking lean function. But as the opening salvo in what will without question be one fuck of a franchise, Observer is a bracing mountain breeze wafting across the open-air septic system that is modern gamerdom. If you dig Blade Runner, Outlast, or Alien Isolation, and you don't own Observer, it's like $30 brand-ass new, so fix that shit, fucker. I'm Razor Fist. God fucking speed.
Just takes a minute and you'll feel no pain. Gotta make something of your life, but give me one more thing. Operation Mindcrime. There's a job for you in the system, boy.
It's not easy being a dolphin.